Hello, everybody.
Hello,
My name is Eric Connole,
everybody.
and welcome.
Oh,
Oh, thanks for cutting me off, asshole. I'm kidding. Hello, everybody. My name is Eric Connole. Welcome back to the Movie Battleground. I am, of course, joined here by Mr. Matt Beer. And no, we are
yes.
not starting a Wipeout spinoff that needed two hosts. Well, that would be fun to
Be
put our
fun.
competitors through a Wipeout course, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, it'd be fun. So, first competitor up is Chad.
Chad doesn't look scared. He's behind the scenes.
No,
He doesn't look scared at all. He is also probably
he's
not listening
focused.
to us. No, he's shaking his head. That might be him listening to us. I actually
Maybe.
don't know anymore.
He's just
But
focused right
no,
now.
guys. So first off, welcome back to the Movie Battleground. I hope you guys enjoyed the little couple week break that we took there. Obviously, we came off the back of two huge matches where we learned that Joe Fairley, after going 5-0 with one knockout, was per the decision of the producers, i.e., us, was given the title, which he will defend in just a couple of weeks against Henry Sanchez, who is currently the number one contender in the league. But as I said, every player who made it to the final 8 slots, the final 4 on either side of the bracket, had a playoff position to, if they won a match or two, they could get themselves into the title picture. And the first one of those is tonight, as we are a part of what is called the bronze bracket. These are the players that finished in 3rd/4th place on either side of the tournament. They are going to play off against each other, and the winners of those two matches will play each other. Now, we ended up in a very interesting situation where Matt and I both made it to that point. So
Yeah.
here we are. Yes. I guess we'll introduce each other.
Yes.
So I'll do you first. Introducing with a record of 2 wins, 2 defeats, and 2 knockouts. He is Matt Beer. Uh,
Hey.
Matt, how are you feeling heading into this match?
Uh, feeling all right. Feeling quite adventurous right now. I woke up feeling dangerous, but you know, look, I'm just here to have fun. That's my whole thing. We've never played against each other. I
No, we
mean,
have not.
we've been a part of whatever iteration of Battleground for quite a while, and we've never played each other, so it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, we're coming up on. I actually. It's sad that I don't know this, but I know we're coming up on the 5-year anniversary. I believe. Or is it 4? No, it's 5. I
Um,
think. Right.
for Movie Battleground, I think it's 4, but when it was fan movie fights,
It's
December
5.
31st of 27 or
Oh.
2016 was when it
Oh.
first uploaded. So it's been a little
Well,
over 5 years.
well, that's why it's on his channel, guys. See,
Yeah,
that's the stuff that I don't know. But all
I mean
right.
it's technically not on this channel. If you
Fair,
look
fair
hard
enough.
enough, you'll find it.
Don't don't look hard enough.
Yeah, don't.
We
They're
weren't
not
there,
great.
so it's not
Yeah,
worth it.
had no
Uh,
idea what was happening.
do you want to introduce me? Go.
All right, and introducing next with I think a 2-2 record. I don't know
Two
if
and
he
one.
knocked anyone out. 2-1. Don't know if we had any
Dude, you
knock.
have the banners as well. Come on, just
Oh,
pick.
let me look at the banners. We're gonna pull that up. See, I thought you were gonna do it. Here we go.
There you
Two
go.
and one with one knockout. It's Ron, Connole, Aaron. How's it going?
Good. Clearly, this is like a bad Three Stooges without the third Stooge.
I know.
No, I'm good. I'm happy to be here. As I've said multiple times, I never intended to put myself in a position where I could potentially play for a title, and I've successfully succeeded in doing that. I won 2 matches, one by knockout. Then at fair and square, man, Henry played a great game. He deserved the win, and he went on to win the tournament, obviously. So he made the best use of his wins.
Yes.
But it was a great match. But yeah, truthfully, like, let's just be real. Like, deep down inside, the winner of this match goes on to play the winner of Jeremy Adams or Jay Burns. And we have come to a general consensus that whoever wins here tonight is probably going to lose that match. Upsets
Yes.
are possible, but we're probably, like, if we were betting men, and that you might be, we're probably going to lose.
Yeah,
So
I'm
we're just here
definitely
to have
betting.
fun. That's the
Yeah,
honest truth.
that's it.
As the two guys who are still around, because Evan and Subrath are not with us. Evan at the moment is not with us. Hopefully in the future he can be, and Subrath is not with us as
Yeah.
a
Uh,
person
they're not involved.
producer.
The way you said that, they're not with us. I was like, are they dead?
They are
Like, did they
alive.
die?
They're
I
just not
was like,
doing stuff
okay.
on YouTube
Whew,
anymore at the
close.
moment. We're the two that are left. We're the two guys that created
Okay.
it that are left. So I feel like it is a good time for us to face off, coming
Yes.
off the back of what was a very successful tournament. and seeing who is the better of us.
Right.
So let's stop killing time and let's just go ahead and get into it. I'll read the rules because every time you do it, it's a
Yeah,
disaster. Let's
it
just be
is.
real. It is. Movie Battleground is a best of 5 rounds. It is a first to 3 points win. Each round is worth 1 point. If one of us happens to get 3 points in a row, that is a victory by knockout, which is something both of us have actually experienced before. And if it is a 2-2 tie at the end, we will go to a blind round, which neither of us have experienced before, I don't believe. So maybe we'll get a piece of the medicine that we forced into people's mouths. In terms of how these 4 debates will work, the questions tonight were not written by us because that would be just another level of fucked up. The questions were provided by fellow Movie Battleground producer Henry Sanchez. He wrote 4 questions. He also wrote a blind round for us. The first round of the debate is 60 seconds each, then 2 minutes to expand and explain, 4 minutes of open debate, and then 60 seconds to close. After that, Chad Webb, Jonathan Peck, and Brian Nussbaum, all of who are in the background judging for us, will come on screen and they will make the decision as to who has won the round. Now, again, unfortunately, Henry was also supposed to be with us hosting, but he had a personal matter come up at the last minute that made him unavailable for recording, and it was just a little late on my end because of the time that I had personally and the time before the match to get a host in, which is why me and Matt are hosting our own match. But for the sake of fairness, neither of us have the blind round. It was sent to Chad, who is one of our judges. So should we need it, he will come on screen to distribute the blind round for us. With that said, Matt, do you have any questions?
No, I don't. Although I think it would have been fun if we wrote our own questions. I write 2, you write 2. That would have been fun, but hey, it is what it is.
Probably, but that feels like an abuse of power.
Maybe.
So let's go ahead and get into this. Question number 1, given to us by Henry. And I will say, Henry was really excited to write this match. And this question
Yes.
is exactly why, because he really liked the idea of finally the 2 guys who started it all playing. And so, what better for the guys who we didn't create this, we ripped off Movie Fights, but
Yeah.
for the guys who
Movie Fights
made
no
the
more.
decision to continue ripping off Movie Fights long after they were corpse 6 feet under, the question is, what movie character would be the best debater within the Movie Battleground? We had to pick any character in film.
Yes.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting texts for different shit, and I have to do producer shit while playing too. It's what happens. I should probably open it on my computer. But anyways, we have this as the question: what movie character would be the best debater within Movie Battleground? For this match, I was deemed the favorite because of my record, so I got to pick what questions I go first on. I'm going first on 2 and 4. Matt, you will be going first on 1 and 3. So as I bring in the timer for you, sir, it will start ticking when you begin speaking.
Okay. So this is one that, I had to think about all the movies. Okay, who's a great debater? And there's been many great debaters. There's been many people that would be good at debating. But I think the one that would be the best is Palpatine himself. Look, Palpatine started from the bottom, right? He was at the bottom and he had to work his way up and he had this whole plan. He's like, look, I'm going to convince people to do this or that. That way it falls in my plan to eventually take over. So Palpatine's my answer, and that will be time for me.
Okay.
And now, Aaron, when you start talking, the clock will be in.
No, I'm the one controlling it. It'll never start ticking. No. All right. So when it comes to debaters, as the guy who has literally sat in the background of pretty much every match that we have recorded, especially in the reboot era, even if I'm not on screen, I'm usually there behind the scenes to some extent. For me, there are 3 things that make a great debater. The first is the ability to just actually speak. Unfortunately, it is something that plays into being a good debater. You have to be a good speaker to some extent to succeed. The second thing is you have to be smart. When you're talking about something, you have to be smart. You have to have an understanding of it because you have to be able to explain yourself in such a way as to make your opinion look correct. And the third thing is you have to be charismatic because you have to try and sway people to be on your side. When you add all those up, I think the person who would be best at competing in Movie Battleground is Marvel's own Tony Stark, as played by Robert Downey Jr. And with that, the timer will run down on
time.
me Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, so I think Palpatine and Tony Stark are actually pretty similar, right? They're both charismatic, like they both can kind of talk their way into things. Sure, they could totally do that. They're both smart. I would argue that Palpatine is smarter because of everything he had to do. But something that's very important is how you can contain yourself. To me, when you talk about these two, as far as someone that has composure, that can contain themselves, Palpatine is the one that can do that easier. He's going to get his point across without getting emotional. That's just who he is, because he had to do that to get to the point that he was, where he took over and had the Empire. So they're both very similar, just kind of how they act and whatnot. But Palpatine is, to me, the better choice, because not only is he going to be charismatic, knows how to talk, and is smart, but when it's heated, he's not going to, go crazy. He'll keep himself composed. Tony Stark, not so much. That's going to be time.
Okay.
Whoa,
Oh,
whoa, whoa,
okay.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh, fuck it. It's 10 seconds. I
Oh,
don't care that much. All right. So, okay. So, for Chancellor Palpatine, I actually think you're incorrect on that point. In terms of when something is high stakes and he needs to come out the winner, I actually think he does get too over emotional. In Return of the Jedi, when he was, his whole role in Return of the Jedi is attempting to verbally sway and manipulate Luke to join the dark side. And not only does he fail, but he ends up literally exploding lightning from his fingers because he reaches a point where he just says, "Fuck this, I'd rather kill you." So really, there's film example there to show that he isn't persuasive in any kind of way. He fails to sway Luke. He fails to sway Rey. He only swayed Anakin because he hit the dude when he was at literally his most broken mentally and then later physically. So it takes a lot on the other end to win. Even in terms of becoming chancellor and manipulating people there, like it took war. It took war to manipulate himself into the position that he got. And I understand that you could say, like, well, he's the one who started the war, but that wasn't persuasion of any kind. That's just brunt force. That's just starting a war to put yourself into power. In terms of Tony Stark, especially if we're talking about movie Battleground, Tony Stark has a great understanding of pop culture. We have seen in the Marvel movies, the dude understands pop culture. He understands movie references. That's why Spider-Man annoys the shit out of him, because Spider-Man's always referencing movies, and Tony's like, all right, we get it. You like old movies. Stop fucking talking. He's charismatic. He is smart. He's usually the smartest guy in the room, and if not, he's the second smartest. And he knows how to put himself out there in such a way that I think he could communicate the points of Battleground really well to the judges, more so than Palpatine.
that's going to be time. All right.
All right, so I'll do the kind thing since I was the last who spoke. Please go ahead.
Okay. So, yes, Palpatine, he didn't get Luke to do what he wanted to do, but here's the thing. For one, he's an uncaged, shithead, emotionally. He's just like, look, man, he was going to kill his, nephew. Like the guy, he just, you don't know what's going to happen with him. It's just not fair. But before that, when he had to do the things he needed to do to get the power, he had to convince people, persuade people, and he did that. He was able to do it. He knew what to do. He knew how to react, and he always had plans. He knew, okay, well, if this doesn't work, I got this. Somehow Palpatine has returned, for example. Like, he has all that stuff. With Tony Stark can be, persuaded pretty easily too. Look at Civil War, for example, right? He was persuaded to go from someone who was not governmental, like not for the government, to, oh, we're going to do that because, things that we couldn't control happened. So I got to do this, instead of being like, no, we're not going to do that. Here's why. He can easily be persuaded. He can easily have his mind changed. And if you have him and Palpatine debating together, Palpatine's going to change his mind about something. He'll make him go, you know what? Yeah, you're right. This isn't how we should do it. We should actually do it this way.
All right, so this might bite me in the ass. I don't know, but I'm going to fight back and say
Okay.
that Palpatine's skill of conversation, I don't think is what won him any of that. We see multiple times throughout the prequels when he's interacting as Sidious with the people who are bad, that he is using just straight up threatening force, whether it be literally using the force, whether it be having those enforcers like a Dooku or a Maul. It's not all persuasion and ease of conversation that's leading people to side with him. He is manipulating people through other means. And maybe I missed that episode of Movie Battleground, but I don't get to send a red-faced horn dude in to start slashing people that don't agree with me. So that's not a part of it at all. The other aspect of it is when it comes to Tony Stark being persuaded, with the example that you gave in Civil War, it took the decimation of a country and then a very specific guilt tripping of Tony being informed of a child who was just as intelligent as he was and had the potential that he had, who was killed because inadvertently of events that he was involved in. It was also off the back of a national tragedy. That's like the world saying, oh, we need to up our defenses because of, unfortunately, everything that's happening over in the Ukraine. And then somebody going, oh, you're a bunch of fucking pussies. We were fine before. What do we need it for now? The threat's imminent. That's why you need to up your defenses. So I don't think it's as simple as, well, he can have his mind swayed by anybody. It took an extreme measure to make him change his position on that.
Well, we know Tony is, sometimes he's emotionally, unstable. Like, for example, he saw a
Does it
vision.
ever hurt somebody in Movie Battleground? I feel like emotion wins more battles than it does loses them.
It can hurt them. But remember, in Age of Ultron, he saw a vision of the Avengers dying, which kind of came true in a way at Infinity War. But
it did come.
He saw a vision. He's like, oh, I got to put I got to armor the planet Earth. I got to do this. I got to do that. And he was like, focus on doing that. And then they were like, no, you can't do that. He's like, okay, I won't do it. And then with Palpatine.
Hold on. So again, we're talking about succeeding in Movie Battleground.
Yeah. Yeah,
every situation that you're bringing up where Tony Stark has been swayed by some other person's position is a literal life or death world decimation type of situation.
Aaron, that if you don't agree with me, we're going to get
Hangover movie is the best.
Like, no, it's not that we're going to get attacked, Aaron. Somebody's going to come into our home. But then with Palpatine,
I wish they would. That boost our views.
He convinced everybody that the Jedi was bad. And that's hard to do.
All right. Come on, Sheev. You got 1 minute on the clock for your closing. Time starts when you speak.
Okay. So to kind of wrap it up in a minute, Palpatine was able to do something that a lot of people didn't think was possible as far as like persuading people. And that was to make people go, oh, the Jedi, they're actually bad. They're not good. And look, he wasn't handed, that seat of power. He had to work his way up there, persuade people. He had to be smart, he had to talk people into believing him with certain ways. Tony Stark was handed Stark Industries. He didn't have to, debate his way or persuade people that, hey, I should be in charge. And at the time that he had it, he probably shouldn't have been. Tony Stark can be persuaded pretty easily too. If you just explain things. Yeah, a lot of stuff was end of the world, but hey, the movies aren't about, saving other movies. So, there's that, but he was persuaded to, oh, I got to join the government because a country got attacked. Oh, I got to put an suit of armor around the planet because of Ultron.
And
time. All right, Aaron, the time will begin when you start speaking.
All right. I would actually argue that Avengers Endgame is sort of about saving the other movies, but that's a totally different argument. Listen, the point in being here is that throughout the course of the Marvel films, we see that Tony is a master conversationalist, and that's what Battleground is about. It's all about using your words and your wit, and to some extent your personality. Because as somebody who has judged matches myself, I am more inclined to say that adding a little bit of charisma and personality to something, well, if the points aren't good, the points aren't good, but it is something that can help in the favor of something. Emperor Palpatine, yes, he assumed a high level of power. Yes, he ran a galaxy, but he didn't do that just through his words. He did that through forceful threats and complete manipulation, which isn't totally what Battleground's about. I think Tony Stark is a man who understands what Movie Battleground would be about, and he could use his words in such a way as to successfully win a match. And can I just take 3 seconds to say this went in a totally different direction than I thought it would? This got weird. talking about wars and shit. That was on me though. All right. So here's how we're gonna do this. I am going to send both of us to the back. I'm going to go ahead and bring in the judges. Chad is going to facilitate them for us, but it's going to be as normal. Start from the top left corner, work your way around in a circle. So I'll go ahead and bring them in for us, guys. Thank you. And go ahead.
Well, I guess that starts with me then. So I'll go ahead. I actually didn't write the answer on my board. I'll do that now. Okay, so I'm gonna say that I actually voted for Matt this time. It was a very close. It was like a roller coaster for me, back and forth, or more of a seesaw, I guess. But yeah, it feels like Aaron a lot of the times was, arguing like against himself at some point, because he was like asking and answering his own questions, which I thought was pretty funny. But this was like a really interesting question because I love the choices that they both had, and but I feel like Matt really won me over this time because when he said that Palpatine was so manipulative that he was able to actually he was able to actually convince people that the Jedi were bad, and I think that's actually what you would need to do to be super successful, because I think to Jonathan for to see who he picked.
Agree with Chad. I would give my point to Matt for Chief Palpatine because he basically pointed out, and Matt pointed out his argument that he could be more contained. He just get his point across. Even things that could be a little tactical along with that, or very much not very much the best quality ways as a not to say a ruler can do, but at the same time, he can be sort of persuade the people's view with it, even though messaging behind is a bit little sketchy, but still you can win the point of it and we'll cross. So I will get my point with Matt with Palpatine.
There you go, and then we'll get to Brian next time.
All right, guys. So thank you guys so much. So Matt, you are up 1 point. As we'll go ahead and get into question number 2, which is we live in a world where Marvel is absolutely dominating the space right now. And this weekend, yesterday, something came out that is absolutely not dominating the space right now, and that is Morbius. Now, let's not be facetious. This is being pre-recorded, but I think we can both agree this movie's probably gonna fucking suck, right?
Oh, it's gonna be so bad, but I kind of want to see it because of how bad it's gonna be.
I have A-list, so it doesn't cost me anything but an hour and 40 minutes because that's all it is.
True.
So let's just merciful by them. Thank you.
Right.
But that led us to bring Marvel into the conversation, which, I mean, when is Marvel not in the conversation these days? Well, these films may not be. The question is, what is the most underrated non-MCU Marvel movie? So we're focusing on specifically films that are not in the MCU, but that are Marvel films. Now, with that said, I am up first on this round, so I'll go ahead and bring the timer back in. And I guess it'll start when I hit play and then start talking.
Okay.
All right. So with this question, I actually had a bit of a difficult time picking an answer because truthfully, I feel like the real answer is the most underrated non-MCU Marvel movie nowadays is all the non-MCU Marvel films. I feel like retroactively, because the MCU has done such a good job over the last 10 years of, for the most part, bringing consistently good quality now in the sphere of, television and film. Movie Battleground, fucking duh. They are hitting it out of the park consistently, and thus I feel like that makes us retroactively look at everything that they haven't done and kind of underrate it, comparatively speaking. So when you're looking at that pile and then you're viewing everything else, I'm going to go with a film that's underrated on 3 levels. It's underrated in that general sense. It's underrated in the sense of most people forget that it is a Marvel film, and it's underrated in its own franchise. My answer, which I'll explain more in my 2 minutes, is Men in Black 3. All right, Matt. Timer starts when you begin speaking.
All right. So, when you think of most underrated movie, there's multiple different factors that go into it. The way it's perceived, the way it's looked at, while later, all that stuff. This movie I felt it came out at an unfair time because it was 10 years after the first Spider-Man. And the movie I chose was The Amazing Spider-Man. It just came out the wrong time. It was so close to the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies as far as release, and that really affected it. So like affected as far as what people thought from the outside. So I'll get into more in a little bit, but I chose The Amazing Spider-Man.
All right. And that'll be your time. And I'll go ahead and start speaking when the clock rolls over. Okay, so I think pretty much everyone will agree that the first Men in Black film is an excellent film. It's a great film. Will Smith, Tommy Lee Jones, they have great interplay. It's a fun sci-fi comedy. Vincent D'Onofrio is excellent. Like, there's no issues with that film. The rest of the franchise is really hit or miss. And I think part of the reason that people underrate Men in Black 3 is because maybe they saw it once and they thought it was fine. But the problem is it's squished between two bad sequels because Men in Black 2 is very at best. And again, I think almost universally everyone would say International sucks. So the problem is I think most people look at that franchise and they go, Men in Black 1's great. The sequels suck. Men in Black 3 is a really good film. I think they made a great decision to use time travel to basically remove Tommy Lee Jones. By 2012, we were all kind of aware that Tommy Lee Jones had checked out mentally. He really wasn't trying in films anymore. And so I think the decision was really smart to go back in time and switch him out for Josh Brolin, which it feels weird to say, but Brolin was kind of an up-and-comer at the time in the sense of he wasn't a big name in 2012. His only real big budget comic book film was Jonah Hex. Like, he was not a thing in 2012. So flipping him out for him was a huge risk that I think paid off because they had great chemistry. I think Jermaine Clement as Boris the Animal is maybe the best villain of the series, arguably better than D'Onofrio. And I think he brings a great bit of humor to it as well as action. I really do just think that this is a movie that's squished between two bad films and thus is retroactively looked at as bad without people really ever assessing it for what it is. The Amazing Spider-Man has seen a resurgence recently because of Spider-Man No Way Home. And I think that Andrew Garfield's performance needs the correct critical praise, but this movie is probably pretty properly rated. It is a fine film. It is good, but it has a lot of flaws that hold it back from being great, and thus it is rated. I'll give you an extra second there because I did go over.
Okay.
You're good.
All right. So, the reason why I'm saying Amazing Spider-Man is underrated. That's the word. I'm not gonna argue a different question. The reason why I say it's underrated is while yes, a lot of people seem to be for Andrew Garfield after No Way Home, you hear a lot of people go, well, Andrew Garfield, he was actually great as Spider-Man. The only problem was he was just in bad Spider-Man movies. That's what everyone says. They don't go, well, he was in good Spider-Man movies. We enjoy these movies. And look, I don't think the second Amazing Spider-Man's all good, but the first one is a fun, real good movie. It just, like I said, it came out at the wrong time. You just had Sam Raimi's trilogy out. So you already had that stigma going against it. And then, with the people that were around when Sam Raimi's movies came out, they almost look at the Amazing Spider-Man as like, oh, you took away Spider-Man 4 from us, so we don't want you. We don't like you. We like Andrew Garfield, but we don't like you, the movie. And it's a good movie. Is it a great movie? Not necessarily, but it's a good movie. You could argue it might even be better than the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man. The problem with Men in Black 3 is the lack of Tommy Lee Jones, like, as, a main character in the movie. It kind of affects the movie. It doesn't even feel like it's part of it. Like, I mean, obviously it's part of it, but it just feels different. And I don't think the story's all that great. I don't find myself really getting attached to it. So that's going to be it for me.
Okay. All right. Speed it up. Okay. There we go. All right, so the Amazing Spider-Man, and again, I don't have the number in front of me, but I believe if I'm correct offhand, it's at like a 70-something% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was well reviewed when it came out, but it was called derivative of Raimi's film, and that's exactly what it is. The movie is trying to be its own original thing, but it's also incredibly derivative of Sam Raimi's film, but it switches it up in a way that doesn't work because it's trying to do what Raimi's film did, but different. And because Raimi's film kind of hit all the classic hallmarks, I think it makes it worse in a way. They try to take the relationship between Connors and Peter and make it like the relationship between Norman and Peter. That doesn't really fully work. Reese Ifans puts in a good performance, but it's not really a great character. You know, the romance in school and dealing with the bully, again, it's done the same, but it's done differently, and I don't think it's done in as good a way. If we're talking about even things like the lines, right? Like there's the famous "when great power comes great responsibility," and rather than just owning up to it and saying it, they have to be the same but different with the whole when you have the ability to do good, you have a moral obligation. And it's like, dude, it's a fucking paragraph at this point. What are we doing? The movie is fine. You're right. But the thing is, with the surge that it's having now because of the support Andrew Garfield is getting from No Way Home, and when you look back at the reviews that it had at the time and realize it really wasn't ever reviewed all that poorly, I don't think it's overrated in any type of way.
So I will say, well, yes, they're trying to do something a little different. There's still similar beats. I felt like they did it right. For one, Gwen, Peter, great in the movie, great chemistry. You could really tell, that Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone were dating at the time. And I'm not saying it's a great movie, like I just think it's a good, fun movie. But it, when you hear people talk about Andrew Garfield now post No Way Home, like I said, they go, "Oh, Andrew Garfield, he was actually really good. We like him." But his problem was he was in bad Spider-Man movies. That's like everything you hear from people. Critically, yeah, it might be more, well received, but I'm talking about the fan perspective. The fans, they don't really look at it like,
And
they
see,
should.
I don't ever, at least for me, I don't really hear people say like, "Oh, he was in bad films."
You gotta go on TikTok, man.
The focus does go on Amazing Spider-Man 2. I think everyone's very aware of the fact that Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the thing that derailed that franchise. Amazing Spider-Man 1 has nothing to do with it. And I feel like if you ask most people, they would say it's a fine film, which if your argument is that it's underrated, but a fine film, and the majority of people, including audiences, critics, and even people nowadays looking back on it, say it is a fine film, then I don't think it's underrated. It's
no, I'm saying a
rated.
good, fun, not fine, fun movie. A good, fun movie.
You said fine as well.
Well,
fun,
I meant fun, not fine. But no, let's get into Men in Black, because you're trying to make me not talk about it. So again, Men in Black, I feel like it suffers from not really have Tommy Lee Jones in as much. I felt like the chemistry with him and Will Smith was great. And look, if Tommy Lee Jones was kind of done at that point, just don't make the third movie.
See, and I disagree with you, because you're right. The chemistry between them really worked in the first one, and it was probably the best thing about the second one, which again is not a very good film. But the thing about the third one is Josh Brolin is, for lack of a better term, nailing an impression of Tommy Lee Jones. And I would argue that he brings the same level of chemistry that these two had in the first one, but it also brings a fresher element to it, because now it's not so much one is more experienced than the other. They're both experienced, and they're both kind of still rookie and from the same type of mentality, which is new and fresh. The second one tried to do a repeat this time. All right, so I'm just going to go, since I'm up first, I'm just going to continue my point. The thing about if your only argument that's really against Men in Black 3 is the fact that Tommy Lee Jones isn't there, I would say that it doesn't, like, it's a benefit to the film. Because he's only there for like 20 minutes of the movie, I think he gives you more effort, because let's be real, he didn't have to be on set as long. And unfortunately, that is a thing with actors. You know what I mean? Go look at Jennifer Lawrence's performance in Dark Phoenix. It's slightly better than her performance in Apocalypse, because she knew she got to leave set 6 weeks early. Men in Black 3 is underrated, because I don't think people give it its due, in that it is bunched in between two bad sequels, and it's kind of just pushed into that. The Amazing Spider-Man is getting a resurgence, and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is getting a resurgence. And I think the public understands that it's the Amazing Spider-Man 2 that caused all those problems. And most people would agree that the first one is a retread of Raimi's, and that it's fine. And that is what that movie is. So it's not underrated. It is perfectly rated. All right, and then your final minute, sir.
Okay, so to kind of wrap up, I don't think the reason why it's not underrated, Men in Black, is just because of less Tommy Lee Jones and more Josh Brolin. as far as I remember, I don't remember hearing a ton of people go, "This movie sucked." I thought it did all right at the box office. I think it was received a little better than the second one. I think most people acknowledge out of those three, the second one's the worst. Second one's in the middle. It's it's whatever, and then the first one is great. I think it's whatever. It's not terrible. I just don't think it really sucks you in. It's not as enjoyable as you would want it to be. I think it's properly rated. The Amazing Spider-Man, it's almost like the black sheep, right? People go, yeah, Andrew Garfield, he's great. Those movies just aren't that good at all. And they're good. I don't think they're fantastic, but I think it's good. It's fun. It tries to be a little different. I don't think that's a problem at all.
And time. All right. Go ahead and send ourselves to the back and bring in the judges. Chad, go ahead and take it away.
All right. Well, it looks like we're going to start with Jonathan.
Okay, then. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. We'll get my point into. I'm going to my point to Aaron on this before Man in Black 3. He basically put all what he pointed out with Man in Black 3. He put all things about the film along with it. Just chemistry with Josh Brolin and Will Smith. Basically, even with Deadman with Tom Lee Jones not being there, kind of helped the film along with it, and also kind of explain why it's more underrated. When Matt's compared with Amazing Spider-Man, though, basically, I didn't hear enough from Matt about why, besides trying to be more different with it, didn't hear not enough why Amazing Spider-Man is underrated when people viewed it right now. So I will give my point to Aaron from Man in Black 3.
All right, now we'll go over to Brian to see what he thinks.
Yeah, I'll go for Aaron as well. He mentioned like how Josh Brolin did like a better version of not having Tommy Jones there, and also his point of like saying the rethread of Amazing Spider-Man compared to Raimi's Spider-Man. So Aaron's my point.
Agree.
Little fun fact, actually, for these two films, both released in the year 2012. In almost 10 years, like 10 years at this point. Lloyd.
All right. Thank you, guys. We'll go ahead and move on to round number 3. Matt, good round.
Thank you. Good round to you.
Go ahead and move on to question number 3, which is, in the world of film, one of the biggest things that we see are duos. The idea of pairing up two people, sometimes expected, sometimes unexpected, and kind of seeing how they can kind of run a film together. And so the question that we have is, what two actors do you want to see in a buddy comedy together in the present day? Is what the question is. And so, Matt, you are up first on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up the timer for you, and it will start a ticking when you speak, sir.
All right. So I'm going to go with Mike Myers and Bill Hader. So Mike Myers is getting a resurgence. He's starting to kind of get back out there again. He took a break, and now he's back out again. And he has something coming out later this year. I forget what it's called, but it's related to So I Married an Ex-Murderer. But you'll have him, and you have Bill Hader. You have two SNL legends coming together, and I'm going to pitch an entire movie to you guys. I should probably go on StreamYard so I can actually see the time. All right, so here's the movie. So you got Bill Hader. He is getting ready to get married to Mike Myers' daughter. He's a used car salesman, and he's got to prove himself. He's got to prove that he's worthy of it because he doesn't, Mike Myers doesn't like Bill Hader, because that's just how it is. Fathers don't like their daughters' boyfriends. So he has to prove him, I'll get into it later. I just saw I had like 10 seconds left. I'll get into my plot.
And time. And there you go. I'll help you out there.
Great.
All right. So I'm not even going to try and be facetious. I misread the question as action comedy, like a duo in an action comedy. But then I realized after internally panicking for a second that action comedies are still comedy. So I'm just going to run with it. In terms of action comedies, I feel like the best duos are ones that we know that can play off each other and also people who can kind of quip and interact, but also people that have a dynamic. Oftentimes, pre-established dynamics work in buddy duo films. So the duo that I'm pitching are two people who have been in predominantly one film, but have technically been in multiple films together. And this would be kind of a new realm for them. I said Tom Holland and Samuel L. Jackson. The two of these guys had great chemistry together in Spider-Man Far From Home. And I think seeing them in a kind of action comedy in the same vein that we've seen Jackson in for a few years, that's the end of my time. But Matt, you have 2 minutes on the clock. Start time starts when you speak.
Okay, so here's the plot. Okay, Bill Hader, he's a used car salesman, and he's getting ready to get married to Mike Myers' daughter. So basically, what would happen in the movie, and I know this isn't like a main thing to question, but I want to kind of explain why I think this would be great. He's got to prove himself. Something happens. His daughter gets kidnapped, so he has to, go team up Mike Myers' fight. Mike Myers, he's somebody who can really bounce off of other actors very well. He's one of those type of comedians that he can work really well with anybody, right? Like he's just, that's his comedy style. His comedy works, with movies that would come out in the 80s, the 90s, 2000s, 2010s. I mean, he was Shrek, and everybody loved Shrek. Bill Hader, same thing. He can bounce off of so many people. You would have the old and the new in comedy. These are two actual like comedians that are coming together, not just actors, but legit comedians that can also act and act well and, come together. I feel like they would bounce off very well. I feel like Mike Myers' comedy and Bill Hader's comedy, it just fits perfect, and everybody loves Bill Hader. Everybody absolutely loves Bill Hader, and everyone loves Mike Myers. So, like, obviously, this is one I think everybody would love to see. Just a movie with Mike Myers and Bill Hader together. I think some of the younger generation that might not know much about Mike Myers would get reintroduced to Mike Myers and would fall in love with Mike Myers. Like, again, his comedy, it works in so many different decades. That's going to be time.
All right.
I chased Chad off.
Chad has ran away. I promise I won't use that in my rebuttal. Okay, so as I was saying, kind of when the timer cut me off, Samuel L. Jackson has been in, over the course of his career, multiple action comedy duos, from everything that's very explicit to the recent Hitman's Bodyguard to even things like his role in Die Hard with a Vengeance, right, where that kind of is a duo film between McClane and Zeus. So Jackson has a lot of experience in this field, and I think he's the perfect type of elder actor to kind of shadow younger people into this. And I think Holland is the perfect pick. They already have on-screen chemistry together. We saw in Far From Home that they can play off of each other, and they have the ability to deliver great dialogue back and forth with each other. But we also saw and I know the film's not the best film, but in Uncharted, that when paired with somebody, Holland can successfully pull off being a part of a duo and maybe even the leading part of the duo. Now, again, the problems with Uncharted come from, its wellness of its adaptation, but Holland's actual performance and his playoff of Wahlberg, if you take the game aspect out of it and just look at that from a critical analysis point, I don't think it's all that bad. Here's the problem with your film. This movie sounds like something that should have come out in 2008, around the same time that Mike Myers' career died. Mike Myers is a funny guy, and he has put out a lot of funny things, but Myers jumping from being a part of absolutely nothing for the better part of 15 years, because truthfully, what has he done? He had a cameo in Bohemian Rhapsody. He did the 4th Shrek film, and a 5th one's been in development hell for years. And aside from that, really, what has he done? He's got one show coming out this year that we've yet to see, so you can't really judge that he still has it. He's a guy who's been out of the game for 15 years, and his last major contribution was something that was as bad and unfunny as The Love Guru, and that was all Myers, from writing to acting. I just think this would be a bad film filled with bad impressions. All right, and again, politeness. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. So, Mike Myers, he took a break. A lot of actors take breaks. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix had a break or whatever. You see actors, they take breaks. You know, they don't have to act all the time and then they get back into it. Sometimes they need to recharge the batteries, and that's what Mike Myers did. Mike Myers is just a genuinely funny dude. And look, Mike Myers was making something that like kids can see and all this stuff and like families, whatnot. Like I'm expecting him and Bill Hader to come together, make something that is geared more for adults, but it's not like rated R. Like you can still have others go because money. But no, Bill Hader, Mike Myers, they're both the type of actors that can bounce off of each other very well. And you know, like they can bounce off of multiple different actors. The problem with Tom Holland, mostly Tom Holland, is take him out of the MCU. Since he was Spider-Man, what has he done that was good? He had Cherry. He had Uncharted. He had that Daisy Ridley movie that he did.
All right. So if you want to talk about quality of film, we can talk about that all day. All four of these actors have made movies that are bad. Holland has nothing to do with the quality of films that he's in. He needs a better agent, and that's about it. You can't say with any film that he's been in that he hasn't genuinely been trying to give the best performance that he can.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the thing with that is, yeah, you want to talk about bad films. I mean, again, Myers has the worst film out of all four of these guys, and that was all him. I don't live with the notion that Myers took a break. He left the industry for basically 15 years because nobody wanted to work with him because the stink of Love Guru was so bad, and nobody wanted to produce anything he wrote because Love Guru was so both unfunny and offensive that nobody wanted to touch it. Honestly, I don't see in what world this movie gets made except to go to Netflix as a Happy Madison production. And that's kind of the other part of this is, you know what this reminds me of? We're talking about, because you're talking about Mike Myers and Bill Hader, who are two SNL alumni who are in a film where one is getting married and the other is a parental figure who's got issues with them. It sounds like That's My Boy with Adam Sandler and Andy Samberg. And that film's not fucking good. This would just be a different type of bad humor. It's not going to work.
So, for one, Mike Myers was in something after Love Guru. He was in Glorious Bastards.
It was a cameo that he filmed before.
But he still worked with other people. Like it's not like nobody wanted to work with him for 15 years. He still worked with people.
Tell me, please.
Yeah, he was in that movie. He still got got work.
Glorious Bastards would have been filmed before Love Guru came out. Shrek was a franchise he was already a part of, and
Love
already
Guru
had been
came out in 2006, and then Inglourious Bastards came out in 2008.
What? Say that again.
Didn't Love Guru come out in like 2006?
Love Guru was 2008, and Glorious Bastards was 2009.
Well, there you go. It came out after. But point is,
but it was filmed the same. Okay,
he was still in something after.
Between Shrek Forever After and his cameo in Bohemian Rhapsody, that's 8 years.
There's
what on
probably been
earth
other
did
stuff.
he do?
And saying that he had the worst movie, look, Sam Jackson has been in like 55 million movies. That like there was the one he did with Dove Cameron, that was horrible. Snakes on a Plane is just ironically terrible, but we can go into that later. The reason why I think a Tom Holland movie that is outside the MCU, no matter with who, would not work is because every single movie outside the MCU that Tom Holland has been in, despite his performance, has been terrible. I would rather watch a movie with two actors that I know the movie's going to be good. Mike Myers took a break. He's coming back. He's going to come in strong. Watch out. Tom Holland, I know whatever movie comes out that's not MCU is going to be trash.
All right. Well, I believe you closed first, so go ahead.
Yeah. So again, when I look at what two actors I want to see in a buddy comedy movie, to me, Mike Myers, Bill Hader, that's more appealing to me than Tom Holland and Sam Jackson. Because for one, Mike Myers, Bill Hader, they're actually comedians that can also act, and they got good acting chops. So you're going to see them come together, and they're going to make a movie. It doesn't matter what the movie is. Could have been my horrible pitch of a movie, or it could be anything else. They're going to be good together because they bounce off each other very well, because they'll bounce off of anybody well. They worked with so many people, and their comedy has worked well. And again, they're genuinely funny. You could just record them talking for 2 hours, and it would be a hilarious movie. Tom Holland, Sam Jackson, I don't think it works quite as well. For one, again, Tom Holland, Everything outside of the MCU has been hot trash. No matter how good or bad he is in a movie, it's been hot trash. Sam Jackson is very hit or miss because he makes 55 million movies. I'd rather see the one that's guaranteed to be good.
And time. Okay. Tom Holland and Samuel L. Jackson have established chemistry with each other. They have been in movies before. They've shown that they have good interplay. Yes, Tom Holland has been in movies that aren't so great, but I think to go as far as to say everything that he's done has been hot trash is incorrect. When you're arguing for Mike Myers, who, aside from Love Guru, also has Cat in the Hat, which is, again, up there for top 5 worst films of the 2000s. Yeah. You keep that Coke in your mouth. All right. The fact of the matter is Mike Myers and Bill Hader, and again, we can use your pitch, we can't use your pitch, but I'm comparing it to something like That's My Boy, which what we have here is essentially 2 generations of SNL comedians attempting to make a film together. That one didn't work. I don't think this one would work. Myers hasn't creatively been a part of a project in anything outside of an acting cameo for 15 years. He has a show coming out later this year. We don't know if it's going to be good or not. It's being made by Netflix, who will put anything into development. Holland and Jackson have proven screen chemistry, and it can work. All right. That will be time. I've never had to go back and forth between passionate and calm like this match, but it's been a good one, buddy. All right. So I'll go ahead and put us in the back.
Don't ever talk trash about Cat in the Hat. Don't ever.
That's the best pussy of my life. We'll go ahead and put ourselves in the back and bring in the judges. Chad, go ahead and take it away, sir.
All right. Well, we're going to begin with Brian this time.
Yeah, for me, Aaron won this round for me. He mentioned about how this is similar to a past project with Adam Sandler didn't work. And also, like, he knocked out of how Mike Myers has been anything good in 50 years. And for Matt, he didn't really talk much about his film until the closing. So, Aaron's my point.
Yeah, so then we'll go to me next. Yeah, I also went with Aaron. I was kind of with Matt from the beginning just because I liked his pairing more because the other two, it's just been done. But I mean, Aaron used that as a positive for his choice. And then it's just Matt just kept repeating himself over and over about Holland hasn't really been good in anything and stuff like that. But then really one-sided debate for me. So I went with Aaron.
All right. We'll go ahead and move into question number 4. Which is recently. No, I guess not so recently anymore. But like at some point in the year 2021, it was announced that Star Trek is coming back. WandaVision director Matt Shakman is taking the helm of the USS Enterprise and will be directing a 4th entry in the rebooted Star Trek series, should they get everybody's contracts in order at least. And that led to a Star Trek question coming into play. And the question is just in general, what is the best Star Trek movie? There are a lot of options out there to choose from, and it's going to be an interesting one. So I am up first on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and start the timer. All right. So anyone who has watched TMG Trivia or over on our sister or TM Geek over on our sister channel TMG Trivia knows that I have made jokes far and wide about how I'm not a Star Trek fan. For the longest time, I had never seen the movies. Only recently have I got through most of the movies. I haven't quite seen them all yet, but I've gotten through most of them, and the ones that are left are from what I've heard, not very good. But with that said, I went with a pick that's a little unconventional, and it's not just because the conventional one was chosen before I got to it. It's because I genuinely believe it. I think the best film of the series is Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. It is well acted, which I think is impressive because these actors were all in their older age by the time that this came out. It was Nicholas Meyer's return to the franchise after directing the 2nd and then writing the 4th film. And I think he just had a great vision for what would be a good final story for this original Star Trek crew that was not only had the seriousness of his other film in the series, but was fun, which I don't think Wrath of Khan has. All right, Matt, and then 1 minute on the clock for you, sir.
Okay, well, you said it. Wrath of Khan is the one I'm going with. So Wrath of Khan is not only a great Star Trek movie, it is the most important Star Trek movie. The reason why it's the most important Star Trek movie is because if you don't have the Wrath of Khan come out and be as good as it is, let's say it's the quality of the third one or whatever, I don't even think you get any more Star Trek movies because look, the show, it got canceled after 3 years. They were going to try to bring it back, then they decided that the movie, the first one wasn't really well received. You had like Star Trek fans that were like, yeah, we like this movie, but that was like 20 people at the time. The Wrath of Khan opened up Star Trek to not just, ooh, that was cool, not just,
right.
the Star Trek fans, but opened it up to the general audience and made Star Trek a household name. So Wrath of Khan is my answer.
All right. So, as I said, our movies are very, very similar, right? They're both from the original series. They both feature the same cast. They're both directed by the same director, who I think we can agree probably has the best set of directorial work in Star Trek. For me, well, for starters, with Wrath of Khan, the quality of film or the impact that something had has nothing to do with the quality of film. I could argue that Transformers and its financial success, despite lack of being a quality film, had an impact on the film industry for a number of years. That doesn't mean that that movie was good. Similarly, Star Trek 2, because it was financially successful, did bring back Star Trek in a way that it wasn't previously. Yes, but Star Trek is a franchise that's always ebbed and flowed. Different things have brought Star Trek into prominence. So I would argue the fact that just because it did that doesn't make it the best film. Star Trek Wrath of 2 or Star Trek 2 Wrath of Khan is a good film. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's a bad film. It is a very good film. But the thing that I think Undiscovered Country has over Wrath of Khan is that Undiscovered Country is enjoyable to watch. Wrath of Khan is a slow moving film that, while yes, it does have some good performances, specifically from Montalban as Khan, the cast of Star Trek don't always have the best actors. And I think a movie that is slow and relies a lot on the performances of actors who aren't always the best, specifically looking at you, Bill Shatner, means that there are areas of the film that I think with better casting, which of course he had no control over, could have put the movie into a better position. Undiscovered Country doesn't try to be this serious drama. It's a fun movie. You get ice prisons and Christopher Plummer, hamming it out as a Klingon. You get this fun action plot where they're trying to stop the sabotage of negotiations. It's fun. It's enjoyable. Plus, it has the quality of Wrath of Khan. Sorry, I'll give you the extra second there. You've muted your mic.
There we go. I was doing something. I don't know. All right. So,
Don't say it like that.
I think, yes, I would agree. Normally, popularity doesn't equal good, but in this case, it's different because it had to be great for Star Trek to be as popular as it was. If it wasn't that good of a movie, if it was fine, okay, not as many people would watch it. It wouldn't be as big as it is today, but it's a great movie. It's great. Look, for one, I think the acting in the movie is great overall. I mean, James T. Kirk, him yelling "Khan" out loud, like that's a powerful moment. Khan is one of not just the best Star Trek villain, but he's one of the best villains in sci-fi, period. And look, yeah, fun is fun. Like enjoyable things are fun, but I would rather watch a slower movie that is better than just a fun movie. Like there's times where fun movies are the way to go, but being fun isn't just automatically great. You know what I mean? It doesn't make it better than another movie. Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan is a better movie. It's better written, has a better story, better acting. The villain is better in the movie. It's more emotional. And again, it's an extremely important movie that is great. Time.
Okay. All right.
I'll let you go first, sir.
Let me bump it forward. There we go. Okay. And so to kind of continue your counterpoint there and counterpoint your counterpoint, yes, something being more fun doesn't always mean it's better. But again, it's the same writer and director, and I think despite the fact that time has passed, there's about 10 years between the two movies, I think Nicholas Meyer
Funny.
still brings the same level of writing and same level of quality and direction to both films. I think he easily makes the best, two most engaging Star Trek films of the original six and pretty much of the series as well. Maybe the only other one that comes close is '09. And so for that, fun is something that plays a factor into it. Wrath of Khan has moments that with better actors, I think could be taken further advantage of, but there is a discrepancy between the two. Kirk yelling Khan is an iconic moment within the film, but I wouldn't say the acting in that scene is necessarily the best. I mean, Shatner's face is in a million places when he's screaming. Like,
Don't make
he
fun of his
looks
face.
just completely off. The
That's his
acting
face.
is not the best with these actors. And specifically, if you want to talk about it being more dramatic, I think there's a lot of dramatic beats in the film that don't work. The stuff with Kirk and his son doesn't work, so much so that they discarded it in the next film. Like, it's just something that feels forced to kind of make this an extra layer of drama, whereas Undiscovered Country doesn't really have any fat on its plot. It's an allegory for what was happening in the world at the time, you know, the idea of the Berlin Wall and the tearing down and the unification of peace with the Cold War on the horizon. And I think it's a really well implemented allegory told through the Klingons versus the Federation and their attempts to try and come together in some sort of peace, and an insurgent's attempt to stop that. But it also is fun. It's fun to watch Kirk and Bones in this ice prison, to watch the space battles. It's more engaging and fun than the slow chess piece movement that is Wrath of Khan.
Again, yeah, it's fun. And look, I don't think it's a bad movie. I think it's a pretty solid movie. But look, man, it didn't change sci-fi. Like, it changed the way sci-fi movies were. It literally saved a franchise, The Wrath of Khan, that is, by how good the movie is. If it was just a good movie, I don't even think we get, more than maybe 3. Maybe we get the third one, and that's it. And then the third one wasn't even all that great, so we know we definitely wouldn't get 4. But again, fun doesn't always make something better. And yeah, you agree with that, like you said earlier, but this is just a better written movie. Yes, Undiscovered Country, it's a good movie. I enjoy it. It's better than at least half the Star Trek movies out there because odds and evens. But it's still not as good as the Wrath of Khan. The Wrath of Khan is more powerful. It has more emotion. I almost kissed the mic. It has more emotion. It hits harder, dramatically speaking. It's more powerful. The characters, the things that happen in the movie, you care more about the
So-
characters than you do in Undiscovered Country. Has more iconic moments.
Okay. All right. So
And then
I'm going to shoot back your argument a little bit. If something being fun doesn't necessarily make it better, something just being dramatic in and of itself doesn't necessarily make it better unless that dramatic piece is executed perfectly. And I don't think it is in Wrath of Khan. It's
I disagree.
executed very well. It is one of the best of this franchise. But what I'm getting at when I bring up the fun, I'm saying that in the context of Undiscovered Country also having a smartly written script with characters. I mean, you talk about the fact that you don't get to learn more about the characters. That's because it's the 6th and final film. You're not learning more about these characters. You're wrapping up these characters. And I think that it does a great job of doing that. I'll give you sorry.
Okay. Just to kind of wrap up the 10 seconds. Look, again, I think the villain, Wrath of Khan, you have one of the most iconic villains in all of sci-fi, one of the greatest villains in all of sci-fi in Khan, and that's time.
All right. Yes, Khan is iconic, and yes, Montalban's performance is good. But again, that is just one piece of a whole film. And while I do think Wrath of Khan is a good film, I do think it's a film that attempts to go for drama, but doesn't necessarily have all the pieces, specifically in the acting department, to pull off the level of drama it's going for. Undiscovered Country has just as smart a script as Star Trek Wrath of Khan does. It's really smart, and it's a good allegory, which is something that Star Trek is known for. So it also keeps good to Star Trek's roots. It's smartly written. It doesn't try to do anything too big or too extreme with its characters. It fulfills its role. It gives you a smartly written, well acted for the franchise, fun adventure for you to close the characters out on. And since I've said everything I want to say, I'm going to use my last 15 seconds to throw this thing in. You know, Avengers Endgame, they do that thing at the end where they have all the characters sign their name off because it's the end of an era. Star Trek 6 did it first. And that is the perfect way to surmise a perfect film to capitalize this franchise.
Well, no wonder Endgame wasn't that great of a movie because they took that from Undiscovered Country. But no, again, Undiscovered Country is just a good movie. You know, like it's a good movie. It's fun. You can watch it more often than you could watch Wrath of Khan. But just because you can watch something more often doesn't mean it's better. Foxcatcher, it's a really good movie. Can't watch that a whole lot. Same with like Schindler's List. But with the Wrath of Khan, you got the better villain. It's the better written script. It's a better story. You connect with the characters better. It saves Star Trek. It's not just the best Star Trek movie, but it's one of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time, for sure. And Khan is one of the greatest sci-fi villains of all time. It doesn't need to be like this upbeat thing. It's slow, but it's slow with a purpose. That's going to be time.
All right. Now, for the record, since the host would normally banter here, I want to stress to the judges, please do not take this into account of your judging. But did you just compare Undiscovered Country to Schindler's List?
No. I said that just because something is more fun and to watch doesn't mean it's better. Schindler's List is a great movie, but you're not going to watch Schindler's List like
all right,
much. You're going to watch it like once or twice.
That was weird. Let's let the judges go. Again, don't take that last exchange into account. I just, we're the hosts, so we're going to banter our own round. But I'll go ahead and bring Chad in.
All right, it looks like I'm starting first. This is weird. I've only seen Wrath of Khan. I haven't seen Aaron's movie. I was thinking initially when I heard the question that Galaxy Quest is actually a Star Trek film.
It is a Star Trek movie, according to Scott Mintz, by the way.
There you go. But yeah, this one was weird because I feel like neither of them had too much specifics to actually say about their movie other than like what you can kind of remember from like hearing like reviews of the movie, like great villain, stuff like that. It felt like Matt was just repeating himself over and over and over again. And I feel like Aaron was flowing a lot more, saying a lot more about his film and why, they're both great. They're both by the same director, but one is more fun than the other. And while I did like what Matt was saying about how, Wrath of Khan saved the franchise and Wrath of Khan is great, I didn't hear like that much about the actual movie other than, oh, the villain's great, because I didn't hear anything about like, the end scene with Spock and Kirk and how beautiful that is. I didn't hear about any like great moments other than just like the, little peripheral like IMDb stuff. So I just ultimately went with Aaron. Jonathan?
I'm actually going to defer. I'm actually going to give my point to Matt because what he pointed out with Wrath of Khan is basically felt like I saw the same thing with the arguments. I kind of hear from Matt though because he pointed out with Wrath of Khan though, not only did sort of kind of a great film, any right to be, even if you take out not Star Trek name out of it, I think it's sort of a great film overall. And I and for me, I think that I will give my point slightly to Matt.
All right. Well, we're going to have to hear Brian's opinion now.
Yeah, for me, I'll go with Aaron as well. I echo everything you said, Chad, about how we hear facts about the Amazing Grace sequence, the whole Spock and Kirk in the cryogenic area. So my vote's for Aaron.
And your winner of the match is Aaron Aaron Connole.
Yeah, don't sound so sad.
Aaron. Congratulations. I'm so excited. I'm very excited. Congratulations. How did it feel to win a rigged match? I mean, how did it feel to get the win today.
Please don't do that
I'm
to
kidding.
me.
Yeah, I thought about that as soon as like, nope, we're gonna change that.
No, listen, winning is bittersweet. If it wasn't wholly obvious, we did this completely off the cuff.
Yeah.
If that wasn't obvious by now, to kind of explain it, a couple of days ago we were talking, and Matt has been busier and busier between work and helping out here and helping out with obviously running his other channel, and he's just straight up was like, dude, I have like not prepped at all, and I hadn't prepped very much at that point because I usually do a lot of it right leading up to the match, and so I just said to him, I was like, listen, dude, solidarity, like if we want to just both go into this completely unprepared and see what happens, we'll do it. So I guess that validates me somewhat. I am the better Movie Battleground producer, is what I'm getting here.
No, you're not. I'm sorry. You might do more than me, to the point
I
where I
definitely
probably don't do a whole lot. But that's just lies. No. Yeah, I work a lot. Had my job, so I had no time to prep. To be fair, I haven't been able to study for the last like 3 matches. I don't know how I knocked out Andy. Like, no clue. Because I didn't prep for that at all. I was coming up with everything on the spot.
Because the man had just done a God knows how long hour drive.
I guess that's true. But I
His
kind of
mind was in
exited that
every
match.
other place.
I left the match. Was like, oh, I didn't even prep. I just came up with everything on top of my head. That's the way to go. And then I got knocked out by Sean. And I was like, okay, that is not the way to go.
Not the way to go.
And I just didn't have time to study this.
I mean, between the two of us, I think I'm the real loser here. I may have the win, but I'm the one that has to play the winner of Jeremy versus Jay. Look, I love Jay to death. I think dude's awesome. I think if he pulls out the victory against Jeremy, we're just going to have a ball of a time playing back and forth off of each other. But I mean, again, if you're a betting man, Jeremy is the person that's going to win. But Jeremy was in this exact same position when he lost last time. He was 2 matches away from a title shot, and he didn't win against Medina. So it is possible to beat him. The giant does bleed. So if I play Jay, I know it's going to be a great time. If I play Jeremy, who I believe is also somebody that I've never played, I guess I'm going to be putting my money where my mouth is, because I've said from day one he's the best player to never win the title. And even though I don't want to challenge for a title, I feel like it's in my best interest to always give the best for the show. So I'm going to have to be the one that tries to stop him, which will be its own thing. So I guess to turn it over to yourself, you're currently 2-3 with 2 knockouts, which is still a decently solid record. And right now, the plan is, as was revealed just a matter of days ago, we have the Summer Invitational Tournament coming up. The 10 people who submitted brackets for the original Reborn tournament, because that got so fucked, my kind of prize to them was, in the summer, we're going to be running a mini tournament, and it is simply by way of invitation. If you submitted a bracket, you're invited to the tournament. And if for whatever reason you can't play, whether it be availability or a couple of those guys are still in title contention possibilities, so if they have the title, then it's again by invitation. You invite somebody to be a part of the tournament. So Matt, right now you're in a decent seeding. Again, as long as he does not hold a title and doesn't have any availability issues, your potential opponent is a rematch against Medea or Raymond. How are you feeling looking forward to
that? It sounds like a fun match. Like I had fun with Medea last time we played, and that was fun. If we ever, were in a situation like that, that'd be great. But that's not gonna happen, Aaron. It's not gonna happen at all. I'm sorry. It's just not gonna happen. I'm gonna dictate what happens next to me. So, because you're not responding, I was hoping you would respond like, "Oh, what are you doing?"
I'm so shocked.
Yeah. Well, first, before I get into it, look at the shirt. It's a Donkey Kong shirt. It says "Going Bananas." I'm not gonna lift that up where you can read bananas, because then you'll see my chest, and I don't want to blind children. That's not my prerogative.
We're marked not safe for children. If they're here, then
true. I guess that's true. It's on the parents at that point. But anyway, yeah, no, I've been doing this for 5 years, like over 5 years. I believe I was the very first match of this whole debate thing when it was fan movie fights. It was me and I can't remember who it was. I think it was Doman. We played a couple times, and I played like Evan and some other people. And then there's this whole rendition of Movie Battleground, and it was a lot of fun. But I've been doing it for 5 years. And when we first started, like I had nothing to do. I was like super like available and free. Like I worked my job at the movie theater, but that was about it. I got paid pretty well for being a movie theater, so I didn't need to get another job. But, you know, life changes. You know, things change in life. You know, for those who don't know, I created a secondary channel inside the Horseshoe just to do my cult stuff, and it's kind of taken off to a point to where I feel like I need to put my focus into that when I'm not at my current job, which is a third shift job. So that alone screws up availability for me because I'm not available weekdays because usually I like to have like an hour to get ready. So with that, and then with me trying to build inside the Horseshoe up to something that we can use the money from that to put into TMG, and just I want to take more of a background role anyway, and kind of be what I was intending to be with TMG. I told you already, so you know. I told you on Thursday. Yeah, you're shocked. I see the emotions. No, I told you on Thursday, win or lose, this would be my final match. So I am going to be retiring.
Now,
you know,
I feel like the somber tone that you've had, I feel like I should clarify a few things. He's not dying, or he's not planning on it.
I do not have a
He's not
disease.
leaving Movie Battleground. He's still going to contribute behind the scenes the way he always has from day one. He just doesn't want to play anymore. So in order to do the thing that I'm best at and find a way to speed up the runtime of this video, let's get to the point of all this, right?
Right.
You are hereby forfeiting your spot in the Summer Invitational, which means whoever takes your place is not based off rank. It's not based off whatever. It's based off on the active roster. Whoever you extend the invitation to takes a spot. And so you extended an invitation to somebody who accepted, who will be filling your spot in the match that is tentatively against Mehdi Raymond.
So, you know, this guy, he's okay. You know, he's not really that great of a competitor. You know, he's only won one match, got knocked out a bunch. Not a great competitor. But I figured, you know, I'll give you an opportunity. I'll give you a chance. So Jeremy Adams will be taking my spot. I am, of course, kidding. I would get knocked out every single time I played Jeremy. But yes, you asked me who I think should take over, and I said Jeremy. That was the first name I sent to you.
Yeah. So Jeremy Adams will be taking that spot, which means, again, as long as neither of them holds the title or has last-minute availability issues, that first matchup for them in that tournament will be a rematch.
Yes.
And it should be worth noting, Matt did not know who he was playing when he picked his replacement. This is just pure happenstance that the person that potentially they will be playing is each other, which would be the second time they have played. Obviously, the first match is the famous lost footage match where because of an error on yours truly, we were never able to actually air the match. So, again.
Look, if I knew it was Mehdi, I would not have chose Jeremy. I would have chose someone else. So, Mehdi, I'm sorry. I did not mean to choose Jeremy. But
he beat him once. He can do it again.
But you know what? I'm going to sit down. I'm going to grab my popcorn tub, my Morbius with the wrong release date, January 28th.
I probably should have
enjoy some nice, delicious popcorn.
How old is that?
It's like a day.
Okay. Well, this is getting boring for anyone who's still watching. So, guys, thank you so much. Matt, as you said, you've been playing literally since day one. You've been a part of this for years. You're my partner in crime on this. Again, you're not going away. You'll still be here. You'll still help out with matches. You'll see him from time to time in the hosting chair. But as a competitor, at least for the very foreseeable future, Matt is finished as a competitor. It's also worth noting that he was never supposed to play in the first place.
Yeah, I wasn't.
he stepped in to meet the numbers quota, which is the same
Yep.
reason I'm playing in the first place.
Yep.
And now that we have numbers, we've had more people join, and the league has grown. It feels like a good time for Matt after 5 matches to step away again.
Yeah.
So, sir, thank you for being here. I guess congratulations to myself. That feels weird. I'm gonna get punished in the next round either way. Thank you to our judges, Chad Webb, Jonathan Peck, and Brian Nussbaum for being here to judge for us tonight. And thank you to Henry Sanchez for writing the 4 great questions that we debated, because this was a lot of fun. But with that said, on behalf of everyone here at Movie Battleground, including Mr. Matt Beer, my name is Aaron Connole, and we'll see you guys next time on the Movie Battleground. Take care, everybody.